Hi, and welcome back to the Witch Source. And I have returning the wonderful Ginger Ackley, and she has some updates and new things to share with us. So, welcome, Ginger.
Oh, thanks so much. I am so glad to be here, Whitney.
So, what has been going on since the last time we talked?
Well, lots of new music has gotten written. Enchantica has been going forward. Lots of collaborations with other musicians. Uh, but the big thing is the way the muse has been turning music that I've written in the past and turning it into stories, especially for children. So I'm really excited about that.
I love that because I feel like, especially as pagans, we don't have a whole lot of options for our kids. So I love to hear that. So can you share some of the titles and when we can expect them?
Well, now, a few years ago, I danced with the child goddess for really a couple of years, and the end result of that was an album called We Folk Stomp, which is really quality music for our pagan kids. And the emphasis was that there is no age limit on the word kid. I've got a lot of 70, some 80-year-old kids that love to dance to the music too. But when I started Enchantica, Enchantica is a weekly online time when we can come together and sing songs and chant chants and just raise some really good energy for the world, for each other, for healing. And we honor those who have passed. It's really grown into something quite beautiful that goes around the world now. That started the week of the lockdown for the pandemic. And I just, what can you do when a pandemic hits? The only thing I knew I could offer was music.
Yeah.
So that's what I did, and we've now got an audience that goes around the world every Wednesday. I've been doing it every Wednesday ever since that March 2020. One of the first one of the first things that happened was that the more I pulled, because I tried to find all the existing pagan chants and pagan songs that I could, just trying to find them.
Right.
Um, and the more I sang other songs, the more the muse worked with me and started sending me new chants and new songs. And it every time now, when something happens or when there's a need, sometimes even before there's an actual need. I mean, she will send me a song sometimes half an hour before I'm supposed to go online, but she's really specific. I want you to sing this now.
Oh,
Okay.
cool. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I tell you, this may be a little rough. It's only half an hour old, but I go ahead and sing it. And invariably, there is somebody that says, how did you know I needed those words? Or, this just happened and this was what I needed to balance it. It's amazing. One of the very first songs that the muse sent me, um, as we have been honoring the elements, inviting the elements in, basically casting a circle, uh, keeping things grounded, tied to the earth and spirit and center, and was a song called Stardust, and it's um, in the time before time, and in the dark before dark. The great goddess sits. She holds out her hand, and in that hand is one tiny mote of stardust. And then from that, all of the elements come out. She calls them all into being, and finally, she calls earth, and life begins. That's the gist of the song. And it stayed just like that for a long time. And then she started whispering, and I started getting pictures in my head, and a story evolved. This is the book cover,
Beautiful.
Stardust. And so the child goddess, the goddess starts out as a child, and she's in the dark, but she doesn't. She's got that one tiny little mote of stardust, and she doesn't want to let the. If anybody is a fan of the Never-Ending Story, very much like the Child Empress, and there was that influence there.
Yeah.
But as she calls each of the elements into being, she ages. So she starts out as the maiden, and then she blossoms, and she becomes the mother, and she's giving birth, and everything is growing and beautiful. But there's that one last word, that one last element, and maybe she remembers just how messy and how mean and how terrible and painful that last word can be.
Mm.
If she doesn't want to say it, she kind of halfway whispers it. But then she does remember how beautiful it can be, what love can be, what caring can be, what nurturing and growing and blossoming. So finally she says earth, and she becomes the crone, and life begins. Let me see if I was so, I put the word out looking for illustrators,
Yeah.
and it was,
Beautiful.
there we go. And there were several people that responded to me,
Yeah.
but there was one particular person who responded to me, and doing a terrible job there. And it turned out to be one of my grandchildren.
Oh,
And they had this incredible vision of the child goddess, and they sent me a picture, and she had stars in her eyes. And I knew immediately that was exactly the right person to do the illustrations, and they have done just the most magnificent job.
that's wonderful.
So, and then I shared the story and the illustrations with Melissa Anderson from Circle of Ancient Sisters, and she said, "Well, did you know we have a publishing house?" And I went, "Well, you might have mentioned it, but I didn't think it was for something like this." And she said, "Well, I'm having a think here. Why don't we start a new imprint of publication for our pagan children?" So this little thing right here, there we go, doing it backwards. This little thing right here is this is their my first witchy books.
Oh,
And so we are embarking on publishing stories for our pagan children now.
my
So
first.
I mean,
Love.
I feel quite honored to be the first in that line.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's something that's been very needed for a while. So I'm happy to see it finally coming to fruition.
I am too, and it the book is, it looks small. Let's see if I can, yeah, it looks small. So here's my hand.
Right.
It is absolutely the perfect size for little hands to hold the book while mom and dad read the
Right.
story.
Yeah.
And so you've got a participation in it. And it's an affordable book. We're I think $14.99 is what we're asking for it right now, and plenty of copies ready to ship out. I love going into festivals, the festivals that I did this past summer, and sitting down with the kids. And again, like I said, the word kid has no age limit. And just telling the story and weaving the story around and involving the audience. And it's just, that is a kind of magic that I think has been a little bit absent. I know we do have some great storytellers like Arthur Hines and folks like him, but we need more of this magical entanglement with our stories and our legends and our songs.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, and I like that you have a song that coordinates with the story, because I think that gives a little something extra to it.
Yes,
Can add that little bit extra to bring, that connection in, and help, parents be able to sing the songs together and read the story together. So
right.
I think that's incredible.
And it's a beautiful introduction for children to the elements.
Right.
And that's, to me, it doesn't matter what spiritual path you're on. Whatever created us from the elements.
Right.
So if we can get a personal connection going with the elements, then it makes it so much easier to be in contact with spirit and to experience that flow of elemental energy all the time. I know when I go outside and the wind comes up and plays with my hair, I've got really fine, wispy hair, so it's always going everywhere. But I always greet the sylphs when that happens, and the undines and the merfolk. I'm a water baby. I love the water, and so I'm always talking to them. And when we go out in the backyard and we have a little bonfire in the backyard and sit and look at, I talk to the drakes and the dragons and the salamanders and of course the earth with the gnomes and the elves and the dwarves.
Yeah.
It just, and when you allow yourself to happily fall into that mindset, then you are surrounded by elemental beings. You're surrounded by magic, real magic all the time.
Yeah.
And then when you need to call on that magic, it's already there. You don't have to go searching for it. So Stardust is a beautiful introduction to the elements. And I was taken aback a little bit by the sadness of what she had to encounter in becoming the crone. But again, I think that's another very important lesson, that magic isn't always happy, frou-frou, ha-ha candy stuff. It's serious. It's serious stuff, and there are consequences, good and bad, or comfortable and not comfortable. Let's not say good and bad, comfortable and not comfortable. But those not comfortable consequences are often far more important than the comfortable ones.
Right. Yeah. And you're right. That is a good lesson to go ahead and incorporate as, our children face challenges and face things that are uncomfortable, or that they're unsure of what's going to happen, if they do this, or go for something or try something, but seeing that it's worth it, to see what happens. So wonderful.
So that's and then since then, the muse has been waking me up. The way I have my curtains set in my bedroom, we have one of those little sort of stretchy rod things, so I have the curtains down. So when the moon comes over, especially when she's fuller, she'll shine in my window. And there have been nights when I've been sound asleep, and she has shone in the window, and she's awakened me just enough with whispers and kind of a dictation. And I'm now so automatically, I reach over, I grab my phone, and I start tap, 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 tap. And then she's quiet, so I put the phone down. And in the morning, I'm looking at it going, that's a whole nother story.
Oh,
Did I type all that in my sleep? Yeah. And it's and they're things that she wants her children to know. And it is I feel so humbled and so blessed having that kind of connection. It's what I do all the time now. So
right. I love that. It's incredible. And it goes to show like what can happen when you trust yourself and trust that guidance and the
yeah.
intuition and just take the action.
When I let the barriers drop and I said, okay, you are so insistent, and I'm not fighting you anymore. I'm not saying, I've got my own agenda. Yeah, whatever you want. Okay, you got it. And then it just started flowing, and it's honestly one of the most beautiful things that I've ever encountered in my life. Maybe it's a late in life thing, but I would love for folks to understand they have the option to drop those everyday filters and let spirit in. Don't wait until you're in your 70s, okay?
Right. Yeah, just trust the guidance and the pushing and the call. Definitely, definitely. So, how many more stories are in the works right now?
Well, we're going to reprint or republish the first one that I did, which was Rowing My Boat, about a little boy named Mooney McGee who became the keeper of the stardust. And he would go up to the stars and gather the stardust to sprinkle on children's dreams. That one also comes with a song.
Yay.
There's another one about the moon mother and 3 children that perceive her differently. That was one of those that just came in the middle of the night, and I'm just sort of blindly tapping my fingers. But it helps children understand that there are different ways to perceive spirit. There are different ways to encounter the magic that we have in our everyday world. And it was just a lovely, lovely story. Do you want me to tell it?
Sure, I would love to hear it.
Okay, so once upon a time, it was the full moon, and the moon mother is up there in all of her glory, and she has her moon maidens around her attendants. And down on earth, there's a little child that looks up at the moon and sees a rabbit. Sees a rabbit in the moon. And so the child is inspired to make a bow and arrow and pretend like he's hunting, and the moon is helping him hunt, and it's a wonderful thing. Elsewhere, there's another child that looks up. Let's see, is it a frog? Is it a mouse? No, it's a frog. It's a frog. It's a frog that this child sees. And giggles and laughter and happiness, and this child is hopping around and making everyone around him laugh and so joyful, and so this was a wonderful moon encounter for this child. And then there was a third child that looked up and was surprised to see their great grandmother's face in the moon. They encountered their ancestor in the moon. Now, the moon maidens were a little confused about all of this, and they said, Moon Mother, we see you we see who you are. We see you in all your glory and how beautiful you are. But why are these children seeing you differently? Can't they see how beautiful you are, the way we see you? And the Moon Mother goes, no. She said, now that first child that saw the rabbit, they saw my rabbit in the moon. They are destined to become a great hunter that will make sure that their tribe is never hungry, and they will help nourish and take care of their tribe and teach the other children in the tribe to be good stewards of the earth.
Right.
A second child that saw the frog in the moon. This child is destined to become a great storyteller, and will bring all sorts of truths and wisdom to the tribe, and will be able to make them laugh even when the times are very dark. They will always be able to find a light, always be able to find a smile, and get those tears wiped away, and give their tribe the strength to continue forward, knowing that things are not ever as bad as they seem to be. Mm-hmm. Now, that third child, the one that saw their ancestor, they are the ones that are destined to become the great leader of the tribe that will connect the future with the past. And the ancestors will always be in tune with the tribe, and the tribe will always know that they can call upon the magic and the wisdom of the ancestors as they go forward into the future, forging new paths, but always being able to be connected with the past. So that's the gist of the story that shown in the moonlight. So
I think that's great. And it's true, like, if you just have a conversation with a kid and ask them what they see or what they think of the moon, you will get those different answers. And so that's really cool. That's a really good one. And how they each have value in the different ways that they interact with and see the moon.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of a personal vision quest, especially as the Native Americans used to have it, where you went out and you took in whatever was sent to you, and each of us has maybe not just one, but maybe multiple reasons for being here,
right.
And we can find our suggestions all around us once. And again, if we know we can drop those barriers and let spirit through, then
right. I love that. That's beautiful. I'm excited to see the other books that come through, and
me too.
The publishing happening.
And the cool thing is that once word of this got out, other people started popping up saying, well, I wrote this little something, and, I have a story that I tell my kids, and, this is a little story that I didn't think would go anywhere, but do you think somebody might be interested? So it takes a while to spin up the production, but we're looking at that and trying to find illustrators within the pagan community, so that we can really make the spirit aspect of this come through.
Yeah.
Get the stories out for our kids and for each other too. Yeah. I had so many times with rowing my boat, and it's very much a kid's story, but it was the grown-ups that I would share the story with, and we would just have like little storytelling sessions and gauging their reactions and that sort of thing. And I think as a people, we've missed that. And I've got a thought in mind where I'm going to be at festivals anyway, and maybe we can initiate storytelling around the fire and start getting other people to start sharing their stories too.
Right. I think that's a wonderful idea. And I think we need more of that just in our everyday lives. And I think having the tools of something that can give people something to think about and relate to and talk about. I mean, you could do that at home with your own family, pull out and play the songs and read the stories and have that storytelling around your own little fire at home, with your own family, and start that family tradition.
Absolutely. And we my husband and I got together and we came up with a series of cards, and so I drew pictures on the cards, and he used those to um, involve children in making up a story.
Oh,
And going out to festivals and letting children pull cards and then laying them out and then concocting a story from the various cards that were pulled out. And I'm we were very enchanted with a program on TV, A Discovery of Witches, and we've got the books. We've been reading the books, and one of the next story, the Blackbird Oracle, um, is the story that happens after the TV show. And in this one, it involves just that: children drawing their own oracle cards and using them as it relates to them, not as tarot or any of the.
right. Main systems just
But
coming up.
they draw their own cards, and those cards speak to them, and that's a spirit connection, and so it opens up being able to utilize oracles, and it's a fascinating, absolutely fascinating concept. And I'm going, but that's what we were doing with our story cards.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, I love the idea of the story cards, and I love the idea of having children incorporate that early in that way.
Yeah, and that's something that parents can do today.
Yeah,
Just get some index cards and have, say, doggy. Okay, we'll put a doggy on there. We'll draw a doggy, or have the kid draw the doggy, or a ball, or whatever,
right,
and make up their own stories, and then maybe start thinking of using them as kid oracles too.
right, right. That's such a great idea. Thank you for sharing all of that. I appreciate that. So, tell us more. What's coming up next? I know you're working on stories and songs.
Yeah.
That
Next, next is this coming up weekend. We have the International Pagan Music Awards coming, and they're going to be close to my home turf. They're going to be in Hudson, Ohio. We've got several different artists coming in. One I was really excited about was Nordic Daughter. They're coming in all the way from Colorado. I met them at the Ohio Viking Festival, and they are an amazing musical group. They really are. So I'm looking forward to connecting with them again and seeing who won the awards this year, and bringing the community together, and then start working on next year.
right,
And for me, Enchantica is every week. Every Wednesday at 7 o'clock on my Facebook page, I go live with Enchantica, and we do have people from all over the world tuning in to it. So that's been amazing. Um, I get a lot of really positive feedback, and then Fringe TV Online has picked it up, and they do various uh, previous Enchanticas at 11 o'clock on Sunday and 7 o'clock on Sunday, regardless of where you are. That you don't have to do the time math. So,
right. Yeah, that's a plus.
yeah.
That's wonderful. Ginger, thank you so much for being here and sharing um, your books and your gift with
Um,
me and with
Make
us.
great little gifts. So,
Yes.
gingerackley.com, I've got a link there where you can order Stardust. Or you can drop me a message on Facebook or an email or whatever, and I'll sign one and send it out to you. Or just find me wherever I am, and I usually have them with me. So, um,
They will make great Yule gifts.
I think so.
Yes, absolutely. And I will attach all the links to everything we've talked about. And thank you so much, Ginger. I look forward to hearing more when you have more stories come out. We can meet again.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yep, we've got, like I said, there's several that are waiting in the wings. So as soon as we can get them out, we will. So, and I really appreciate you giving me a place to talk about this and share it too. So, thank you,
Absolutely.
Whitney.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Ginger. I hope you have a great time this weekend at the IPMAs. And yeah, hopefully you have a good turnout and get those books out there.
Absolutely. I'll be singing Stardust for sure.
Yes, love it.
All right. Thank you, Whitney.
Thank you. Blessed be.